Welcome to Snetterton, where the sun's shining on the first weekend of racing in the 2013 Mini Challenge Championship. With one of the strongest grids ever assembled and 4 races lined up, it's certainly an exciting start to the season. Mini Challenge is now in its 12th year. This season there's a new captain at the helm, Championship promoter Anthony Williams.
Well, I've been involved with the championship now for a number of years, firstly as a driver and then as a team manager. And really, I just think it's a fantastic championship, and when the opportunity came along to take on the promotion of the championship, it was an opportunity that I really just had to jump at. The Mini Challenge has got such great potential. The raw materials are there. It's a great car to race, a great car to drive, and the brand of Mini is clearly one of the strongest brands in British motorsport. So the opportunity really is to take the Mini Challenge forward to become really the first choice for people in single make racing in the UK. The main reason to be involved in Mini Challenge is to have fun. Enjoy your weekends, have some great racing, get some good results, and then in the long run, if you do well, move on into other championships and really be seen as a feeder to those higher level championships.
The first race of the season proved to be a very interesting one for 2 old rivals, one of whom just happened to be the JCW reigning champ.
Thought I'd come back and give Luke a run for his money. Unfortunately, I finished 4th, Luke was 5th, which I'm glad about. Our main battle was just between me and Luke, to be honest with you.
Off the track we're friends, but there's complete enemies on the circuit, and it's all about beating him. That's important.
We never give each other an inch, no matter what. We love to hate each other.
Well, ahead of the Luke and Lee show, it was Jake Packen who came through to win the first race of the season from Chris Smiley and Chris Smith. In the Cooper class, it was Shane Stoney who took victory from Josh Gollin in his first ever race weekend, with Ollie Walker completing the podium.
I've now been joined by a lady, yes, and it's not one of the grid girls. She's in the proper kit here. Grace, you're actually driving in the championship this season, and from what I understand, this is your first ever foray into motorsports, which is amazing. Why?
That's entirely correct. I just fancied giving it a bit of a go. My dad did rally cross when I was a lot younger, so I watched him for a fair few years, but I really wanted to have the opportunity to do it myself.
Why Mini Challenge then specifically?
The Mini Challenge seemed particularly sort of accessible to a complete novice like myself, and especially doing it with the Accelerate team. You have like the full support of them behind you, and I can just sort of tip up and drive because I don't have a clue about the technicalities of the car, but luckily they do.
After 2 hard-earned wins yesterday, Shane Stoney finds himself in pole position in the club class, and for the JCWs, it's Jake Packen. So let's get the first of today's very busy race day underway.
And Jake Packen has got it all to do from pole position. Alongside him on the front row of the grid is Chris Smiley. Row 2, Chris Smith and Lee Allen, with Allen's arch rival Luke Caudle lining up on the inside of row 3 alongside William Davison. Huge field of cars, and the Cooper class particularly well supported this year with Shane Stoney and Josh Gollin on the front row, then Ollie Walker and Hamish Brandon row 2, with Gideon, Cresswell and Ricky Page, the 5th and 6th of the Cooper class cars. Lots of newcomers to the field, including Grace Williams, who lines up in 24th. Touring car with Josh Gollin as the lights go out and away we go. It's a good start from Lee Allen in the blue car. He's got away well as the field charged towards Riches for the first time. But the pole sitter Jake Packen in the black number 13 car's got the advantage. Up to second goes Lee Allen, or does he? Because around the outside looks to swoop Chris Smith as the field all cleanly through Riches, accelerating on towards the hairpin at Montreal. In the Cooper class, it is Shane Stoney who has just got his nose ahead as Jake Packen leads, but side by side behind. It's Lee Allen just in second, with Chris Smiley and Chris Smith both disputing 3rd position as well. The race leader Jake Packen then works through Palmer with Allen in 2nd, Smith in 3rd. So it's now Smiley has slipped back a little bit. He's got Luke Caudle right on his tail. Josh Gollin in the thick of the Cooper class battles, right on the tail of Shane Stoney, immediately in front of him as they head on towards the hairpin at Agostini. Luke Caudle still a little bit frustrated behind Chris Smith, but it's Chris Smiley who's rather lost out there. He seems to have slipped some way back down through the pack, so I think that's an issue for Chris Smiley, as the battling throughout the field is as intense as ever. There is Chris Paniatu, car 29, returning to the championship once more as Lee Allen and Chris Smith go side by side into Brundle Nelson. It's Allen who's still just able to nudge himself ahead. All the while, this is enabling Jake Packen to break away at the head of the pack. So we've got now 4 cars disputing second, because Luke Caudle number 2 and William Davison as well back of that pack very much in this fight as they come out of the bob hole on towards Coram Curve, and Smith dives to the inside of the Allen. That's a brave move from Chris Smith. Will he make it stick? Yes, he does. Superb driving there from Chris Smith, and Luke Caudle looked to try and follow through in Smith's wheel tracks. They all constantly interrupt on the brakes into Murray's before accelerating onto the centre straight in car with William Davison. All looks very cool, calm and collected there from Davison's point of view, as he looks to take advantage of the slipstream to draw alongside Luke Caudle as they flash through. Pit boards hastily retracted. The cars hug the pit wall in car with Justin Taylor, who goes around. A little bit of a moment there for Taylor. A couple of them taking very close evasive action. We see it again from Kevin Norman's perspective. And yes, Norman did well to avoid being caught up in all of that, as Luke Caudle has worked his way past the Allen, is now right up onto the tail of Chris Smith. The pair of them fighting over second and third as Josh Gollin and Hamish Brandon dispute the same positions in the Cooper class. Remarkable performance this from Josh, given his relative inexperience in cars after making the step up from karting this weekend at Snetterton. As the fight for second in the JCW class continues, and Caudle looks to dive to the inside of Chris Smith and goes through into Oggies. That's a really beautifully judged move from Luke Caudle. If he can pull it off, he now needs to keep his line into Williams and then get that good run along the Bentley Straight, and that's exactly what Luke Caudle has done, at least the first part of the job. But Chris Smith may be able to carry that momentum further back through the order. Stuart Calder and Bob Hosier having a good scrap. Hosier just running a little bit wide. That could give Calder the opportunity at the very least to draw alongside, if not go around the outside of Palmer. But Hosier sticks to his guns, holds his line, and therefore no way through there for Calder as the pair of them head towards Agostini. Well, wherever you look within this field, there are battles going on, which is the beauty of the mini challenge. And that is Lawrence Davey, who is just making the move on Jono Brown. Brown graduating up into the JCW class this year. Davey moving across from Legends Racing. Still, the battles go on through the field. Justin Taylor and Adrian Norman battling out in the Cooper class. The pair of them head out of Riches on towards the hairpin at Montreal. It's Taylor who's just got his nose ahead at the moment, although Adrian Norman, looking to build on the experience he gained last year, will try and elevate himself up through the order as the race progresses. Unfortunately, Grace Williams having a slightly more trying time. She's had a quick spin, and Chris Smith, having been demoted by Luke Caudle, is now under real pressure here from Lee Allen. It's going to be even more pressure as Smith bounces across the curbs on the exit of Hamilton, arriving into the braking zone for Oggies, but Smith able to hold the racing line, arriving then into Williams. And I don't think that Allen should have enough of a run, as coming out at the final turn at Murray's. It's been a hard race for Jake Packen, but he's controlled it very nicely, and he comes through and takes the victory with second place Luke Caudle just on the line. Third going to Chris Smith from Lee Allen. A delighted Luke Caudle with a runners-up finish on his returning weekend to the mini challenge. So let's take a look at the results then, with victory for Packen, second Caudle, third was Chris Smith, fourth Lee Allen, with William Davison and Lawrence Davey completing the top 6. In the class results then, the JCW class, the top 3 in the race overall, so Packen from Caudle and Smith. And in the Cooper class, it's another victory for Shane Stoney, with Josh Gollin able to pip Hamish Brandon. With 2 further races to come, there'll be cheers, but not champagne on the podium.
Jake, really nice, comfortable win for you on the second race.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic weekend. It's been a long time coming. I've had the best part of 18 months off now. So yeah, we've really enjoyed it. Yesterday we had a good race, a bit of a battle with Lee, which was nice. We've raced together for a long time, and then today, just a clean start really. Got off the line well, and then just watched them all battling behind me and managed to create a nice gap really.
The fun continues here at Snetterton with the mini challenge in just a few, so we'll see you after the break. New to the championship this season and driving in the Cooper class is Hamish Brandon. Hello.
How are you doing? You all right?
Would you be Scottish?
Yes, I would indeed. You can tell the name's a bit of a giveaway.
But you've also been doing Scottish minis, haven't you? For how long now?
Yeah, we did 4 seasons up there. We did 2 half seasons just to get in the swing of things, and the past 2 years we've done two complete seasons. So we just felt the time was right to come and try some other circuits.
And is that sort of your main motivation for doing the National Mini Challenge?
Yeah, really. There's circuits on the calendar that I've always wanted to race at. The Brands Hatch in Donington. That my dad used to race. He raced at Brands Hatch. That was his local circuit. So there's places I want to try, and unfortunately, in the main, we race at Knockhill. It's only one circuit. We do a couple of way rounds a year, but it tends to be like Oulton Park and things like that. So at least we'll be able to try a few other circuits further south.
And are you here for the whole season?
Yeah, doing the full season. I didn't expect to be going to Holland, but that should be fun. So hopefully might be able to stay a few days extra over there. So that should be good fun. Let's
talk about the cars. How do they differ between the Scottish Championship and then the Cooper class?
I would say that the power is probably very similar. The key differences are down here we run slicks and wets. In Scotland it's a one make tyre, whether it's raining or dry. You've only got one tyre choice.
As race number 3 prepares to get underway, will Lee Allen be able to push through from 4th on the grid to get that podium win this weekend?
Well, just half the job is done so far. We've got 2 races to go, and ready for race 3, it's Jake Packard and Luke Caudle who lock out the front row in the JCW class from Chris Smith, and the Allen in the Cooper class, Shane Stoney and Josh Gollin on the front row from Hamish Brandon and Ricky Page. So full field of cars once more, getting ready for the starts here. In-car Lawrence Davey, red lights are on. Out they go. Good start from Davey, good start from the front row as well. Also row 2 off the grid as one. So the entire field surging towards riches for the first time. But once more it's Jake Packen who has converted pole position into the early advantage. Chris Smith and the Allen follow through in his wheel tracks. It's Luke Caudle who's been left hung out to dry there on the outside line as the rest of the JCW class work their way through riches. Then the Cooper class arriving with Shane Stoney and Josh Gollin already starting their battle. Lawrence Davey right up onto the tail of the Allen trying to freight train his way through into 4th position. That will push Luke Caudle down to 5th. Caudle runs wide, kicks up the dirt and is momentarily in 5th. Whether or not he'll be able to fight back into pole, we'll see. Yes, he does. So Caudle retakes that 4th position back from Lawrence David, already in pursuit of the Allen as the leading duo. Jake Packard and Chris Smith have set about breaking clear head of the field. There they go. Lovely shot. You can really see the speed of them heading in to Hamilton before they arrive into the braking zone. Adoggies and Luke Caudle begin to ask searching questions of the Allens. He tries to bring himself up onto the podium. He's being pushed along there by the fact that he's got Lawrence Davey right on his tail as well. So that leading train of cars heads through Williams onto the Bentley straight for the first time. Now, can Caudle use that slipstream to overhaul the Allen? It's still Packen who leads, with Chris Smith in 2nd, then the Allen in 3rd. Luke Caudle, Lawrence Davey and William Davison all over his tail, and then Allen's teammate Chris Paniatu to the back of that train. The challenge this time into the bob hole though is Davison, who dives to the inside of Lawrence Davey as they head through the right-hander. No way through there for Davison, but the Allen under real pressure from Luke Caudle, who's looking to the outside at Coram Curve. Let's see if Caudle can make that stick. Side by side, still through Coram into Murray's, and it's Luke Caudle who's got the inside line. That's a lovely move from Luke Caudle to climb up into 3rd position. They head through to complete the first lap of the race. What about the Cooper class? Well, it's Josh Gollin who leads it from Shane Stoney, Hamish Brandon and Ricky Page, with then the next man along being Justin Taylor. Shane Stoney runs a little bit wide there out over the grass. Luke Caudle has got onto the tail of Chris Smith at the head of the field. And we've got the rest of this group fighting for 4th position. Lee Allen with Lawrence Davey kicking up the dust. That could give William Davison the opening that he needs as Chris Smith and Luke Caudle work their way around the hairpin at Montreal. In the Cooper class, it is very, very tight. At the head of the pack, it's Shane Stoney who's just ahead of Josh Gollin. Now, where can Gollin challenge in his low-end racing car? He thinks about the dive to the inside of the Coastal Racing machine at Montreal, and through he goes. So Gollin takes the lead of the Cooper class away from Shane Stoney. Stoney will immediately look to draw alongside as we're in car with Ollie Walker a little bit lower down the Cooper class order, and that, oh dear, I think Justin Taylor may have a discussion about that afterwards, because because he was somewhat unceremoniously moved aside as Josh Gollin side by side with Shane Stoney still disputing the Cooper class lead, and it's Shane Stoney who reclaims the advantage, but for how long? Gollin looks to draw alongside him as the pair of them arrive into the bob hole. Super scrap between the pair of them as Lee Allen and Lawrence Davey continue their tussle. We've got William Davison and Chris Smiley recovering from far lower down the grid. At the head of the field now we've got Chris Smith. We've lost Jake Packen to a mechanical failure, so it's now Chris Smith who's taken over the lead of the race, with Luke Cordell in second and Gideon Cresswell exploring the scenery. A slightly lurid spin, but he should recover from there. Right, the lead of the Cooper class. Who's it going to be into riches? It's Shane Stoney. Just we'll see that a little bit later on the brakes. He's got the inside line, but then Gollin immediately looking for the inside line as the pair of them sprint towards Montreal, and it's Gollin who goes through once more, reclaims the lead of the Cooper class. Absolutely brilliant battle this, but taking the checkered flag, it is Chris Smith who wins. Luke Cordell in second. What about the sprint to line for third? It's going to be Chris Smiley. Superb performance from Chris all the way from the outside of row 7. And in the Cooper class, well, Shane Stoney has once more found his way past Josh Gollin, and he is going to claim class victory from Gollin. And then Hamish Brandon will take third. So let's take a look then at the results of the third race of the weekend, with victory for Chris Smith from Luke Cordell, Chris Smiley in third, Lee Allen fourth, Lawrence Davey and William Davison completing the top 6. In terms of the class results, well, the JCW class, it was Chris Smith from Luke Cordell and Chris Smiley. And what a race we had for the Cooper class, with honours eventually going to Shane Stoney from Josh Gollin and Hamish Brandon.
Yeah, it's nice to go forward in a race. The last two have started third and finished third, so yeah, it's nice to get on the top step.
A terrible start, but after that the car was absolutely fantastic. We got the traction control turned off up into turn 1, got on with it and got second place. We're really happy with it.
We both got fairly even starts, so we managed to start. He managed to get past around the outside on the first corner, and then it we were both sort of dicing position from there. So it was really close but clean, so it's good.
Yeah, it was a great race with Shane, as you said, nice and clean, and there were probably 10, 11, maybe even 12 changes of position throughout the race, and yeah, probably made for good spectating.
We're changing things up for the final race with a reverse grid of the top 6 drivers. That's in both classes. The question is, can Shane Stoney for the Coopers manage to push through for a 4th consecutive podium win?
Well, let's see if he can do it. So this is how they line up then with the reverse grid, with William Davison, Lawrence Davey on the front row, then Lee Allen from third. He is looking for his first podium of the weekend. Shane Stoney make it a clean sweep. Well, lots to do from 6th in a very keenly fought Cooper class. The red lights have gone out and away we go, and as ever the front of the field moves off as one as they sprint along the centre straight on towards riches for the first time. It's number 19, Lawrence Davey, who's got the initial advantage, but Chris Smiley, then the red car, number 22, is also showing strongly as the JCW runners all cleanly through riches for the first time. It's been a very, very keenly fought weekend, this one, but actually one which has had very few incidents. Testimony really to the driving standards in the championship as Luke Cordell looks to squeeze the inside Chris Smith. He's boxed in behind Lee Allen, so the rivals of 2 years ago, well, that is very much back on this season. They are very, very keen competitors, as it's Davey who leads from Davison, then Smiley, and then we've got Allen and Cordell fighting over 4th and 5th. And Luke Cordell will be determined to get past the Allen. Allen in turn will do everything he possibly can to keep Luke Cordell behind him as Cordell gets all crossed up, under braking to Agostini. You can really see just how on the limit Luke Cordell is, as Lawrence Davey enjoys the experience of leading a mini challenge race for the first time, as William Davison runs a little bit wide Oggies. That may give Chris Smiley the opening he's looking for, but no, it doesn't quite. So Chris Smiley instead gets in the situation behind William Davison as they head along the Bentley Straight for the first time, with Davison looking as well to the outside Lawrence Davey. That leading trio breaking clear of the rest of the JCW runners in this early stage of the race, riding over the curbs. On the extra Nelson though was Davey. He loses momentum. That's Davison's opportunity to dive to the inside line of the bob hole. They go side by side, and Chris Smiley waits to plot his route. Where will Smiley be able to squeeze through to the inside? Lawrence Davey moves up into second. Yeah, Lawrence Davey can't really turn into Chris Smiley, so Smiley climbs to second. Davey demoted to third. Now what can Chris Smiley do about moving ahead of William Davison, who gets it all sideways at Murray's, and that's just the opportunity that Chris Smiley was looking for, and he may well draw alongside by the time they arrive at Riches next time around. Let's see, over the crest of the centre straight they come. Smiley to the outside line, Davison to the inside, can't see who's got his nose in front. It is William Davison who's been able to withstand that challenge as Luke Caudle and Lee Allen go side by side through Riches. It's Caudle to the outside line, and he may just to make that stick on the Allen. He does, as Chris Smith also attempts to try and fight his way back through around the hairpin at Montreal, and then accelerating on towards Palmer as Shane Stoney looks to move to the fore of the Cooper class, and if he wins the class again, he'll once more win 20 litres of Sonico fuel, which is the prize in each race this year for the winner of the Cooper class. Chris Smith in pursuit of Lee Allen, who has been comprehensively passed and now dropped by Luke Caudle, who's getting on terms with Lawrence Davey. As having a bit of a wild ride there across the dirt, Ricky Page, he rejoins, having lost several places in the Cooper class, as Chris Smiley now looks to make the decisive move at the head of the field and takes the lead of the race. Nicely judged move by Smiley, the traditional Snetterton manoeuvre down the Bentley straight into Brundle Nelson on the brakes, and through goes Smiley. Luke Caudle now seeing what he can do about thinking his way up ahead of Lawrence Davey, with Lee Allen and Chris Smith still in very close contention. The leading duo, meanwhile, heading through Coram Curve, which tightens into the left-hand flick at Murray's, then propels them once more along the centre straight through to reel off another lap. In the Cooper class, we've got Ollie Walker and Josh Gollin engaged in battle as they fight for second and third in the class. It's Shane Stoney who's worked up to the head of the Cooper class, is running a little bit wide is Lawrence Davey, and that's the opening that Luke Caudle needs, and through goes Luke Caudle. And Chris Smith also gaining ground. It's Gideon Cresswell and Hamish Brandon spot places into Riches. The checker flag has come out, and it's victory for Chris Smiley, who is absolutely overjoyed with that. A super drive from Smiley. So let's take a look at the final results then, with victory for Smiley from Caudle and Smith, Lawrence Davey, William Davison and Lee Allen completing the top six. In terms of the classes within the JCW class, Chris Smiley from Luke Caudle and Chris Smith, and in the Cooper class, success once more for Shane Stoney, Josh Gollin and Ollie Walker. Four excellent races this weekend at Snetterton for the Mini Challenge, and quite rightly a huge round of applause for the podium finishers as they get onto the rostrum for the final time in the weekend. And now that the hard work of the weekend is completed, once the photos have been finished with, then it's time to let rip with the champagne.
Thankfully we're on the pace, and we're just all we need now is a bit of consistency through the year to try and build our championship points up a bit. And
I've got to thank the team. They put a great car under me all weekend, so yeah, it was great.
Early stage of the championship, but as we leave Snetterton, it's Shane Stoney who leads the way from Josh Gollin and Chris Smith, with Luke Caudle in fourth and Hamish Brandon completing the top five.
4 races in, and it's been an exciting weekend here at Snetterton. There's been quite a few highs, a few blows as well, and of course at this stage of the game the championship title is anyone's. Join us again next time from Brands for more fantastic mini challenge racing.